Hi, it's Alicia from the Pretty Brown Eyed Reader. I have fallen off my duties once again and forgotten to film a couple of wrap-up. So I am coming today with my December 2020 wrap-up. And so I'll just go ahead and just get started on what I read in December. The first thing I read was a graphic novel, an advanced copy of After the Rain, and it's by Nnedi Okorafor, and it's based off of one of her short stories that's set in Nigeria, and it's kind of a spooky short story. I hadn't read the short story, but once I got approved for the advanced copy of this graphic novel, I went back and read the short story. The artwork does match up with the short story, and it gives you that spooky, eerie feeling. However, with it being an advanced copy, the color wasn't put into it, so I wasn't all that impressed with the artwork because it was only black and white. But what I did see, it did match up to the short story. So I would say you can check that one out for yourself. Another thing that I read in December was Butterfly 3, and that's by Antoinette. And it is the third book in the Butterfly series. Well, I have talked about the other two books previously on this channel, and this book, same thing. The main character, Mo, she's going back and forth between 3 different guys, and she can't make her mind up of who she wants to be in a relationship with or how she wants her life trajectory to go. I found myself getting a little frustrated during this book, and I was like, you know what, I'm done with the series. But Antoinette, being the prolific writer that she is, she ends the book on a cliffhanger. So I'm like, you know what, I gotta read the next one to find out what happens in it. So Antoinette, she's killing the game with being so prolific. So the next book that I read was a romance from Brenda Jackson, and it was called The Wife He Needs, and it's a boss employee vacation romance. So in the story, there is a pilot, and she is flying her boss, who is a company exec from Alaska, to Spain, I believe. And he was supposed to meet another woman in Spain, but the woman doesn't show up, so he invites his pilot to stay the 2 weeks that he's there in Spain. So, of course, a budding romance, even though they both have always had feelings for each other. And so the romance ensues. And this was one of the, I believe, part of one of her series, or she was starting this one from a series. I can't remember the details, but I'll link it, put the information in the description bar. But Brenda Jackson, one of my favorite romance writers. So it was fun to read her during the month of December. The next thing I read was a short story collection, and it's by Nikki, Dolson, and it's called Love and Other Criminal Behavior. And I have a review of that book on Goodreads. I sent a copy of it by the publisher. And I felt like it was a good short story collection, but some of them just really felt like the beginnings of a novel, and it's something that she should be able to flesh out to make something a bigger and deeper work. And a lot of the stories centered around boxing and people doing things in the name of love, including some criminal acts. So that's as much as I'll say about that book. I also had a chance to read a couple of poetry books during that month, the month of December. The first one was My Mother Was a Freedom Fighter by Monet. Oh, that book was fire. And so look for some of those poems later on in the year. The next poetry book I read was called Legacy Women of the Harlem Renaissance, and it's by Nikki, and it's a children's book. And so she highlighted, since so often for the Harlem Renaissance, all we hear about are the male writers, and so she highlights the women ones. And so that was very good, and found some good poems in that one too. The next poetry collection I read was Boy with Thorn, and it's by Rickey Laurentiis, and it was a poetry collection I heard the writer Brittany Cooper talking about. And so many of those poems center around the American South and many of the tragedies like lynching that happened throughout American Southern history. So Rickey also mentions several different other poets, so it's a good collection to like jump you off to exploring other poets in America. And the last poetry collection that I read was Selected Poems of Langston Hughes. Never can go wrong with Langston Hughes. I've read several of the poems before that were in the collection, but I also had a chance to read some that I wasn't familiar with. So that was a good collection to listen to actually read through. So I ended my month off with one of the most anticipated books to be released in 2021, and that is The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. That book is worthy of all the hype. The one thing about the book that I hate is that it's being compared to being compared to Toni Morrison and other writers. He writes in his own way, and it's a magical, lyrical type of writing. And the story is about, the premise is about a same-sex couple during slavery and all of the politics, all of the antics that go on involving this relationship on the plantation. The thing about it for me, I know people want to play up the same-sex portion of it, but to me that wasn't the core of the story. The core of the story is human beings not being allowed to be human and to have feelings during this brutal institution of slavery in America. That is what comes through for me in the story. So I hope you get a chance to check out The Prophets. It's definitely worth all the hype, and I look forward to people doing more discussions about it and just seeing how this book can grow into its own legacy. So that was my December reading. I didn't realize I had read so much until trying to discuss what I read in December. If you remember what you read in December, feel free to let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a great day.